All right, man. First off, before we get to firing whoever y'all want fired, whoever y'all want put into the shadow realm, because I'm sure chat wants a bunch of people fired today. Before we get into all of that, y'all, can you tell me if the audio's good? Can you tell me if the video's coming through? Can you tell me if everything's working properly? I know I tried to do the IRL stream, and things didn't go as planned. Hey, you working off Stadium Wi-Fi, it disconnected, and reconnected a lot. But first off, chat, please let me know if this audio is okay so we can get started, and then we could talk about everything else that happened today. Sound good, look good. Sound good, look good. Thumbs up. All right. All right, man. So. There's a lot to talk about. Now, fortunately for me, I was at the game. I had a really good view on everything, pretty much like an all 22 view of the game. So I'm not as upset at the defense as I think a lot of you guys are, because I haven't seen the television broadcast. I don't know what that's going to look like, right? I know what I saw from my perspective, which was more of like an all 22 perspective. I can see the whole field. I know the instinct for a lot of people is going to be mad at Joe Woods. And I think Joe Woods has done fireable things earlier in the season. I don't think this is a good example. And I'll give you the reasons why I feel that. And it's not just, it's one thing when Clowney and Miles and Anthony Walker aren't out there. You're not going to have Anthony Walker for the rest of the year. The more and more games that go by, the more that's going to hurt not having Anthony Walker. I'm just going to be honest. Jacob Phillips was not good today. But here's what I'll say about the defense. Atlanta came into this game averaging 28.9 points a game. Atlanta came into this game as one of the top 5 offenses in football. The Browns held them under their average. Without Jadeveon, without Miles. That's not to say they played well. You give up 10 straight runs, that's not playing well. But that is to say that the defense played almost as expected. When we found out that Clowney and Miles wasn't going to be in this game, and if you think I'm capping just because they lost, go back and watch my pregame show coverage, right? Exactly verbatim what I said in that was, hey, if the Browns don't have Clowney specifically, more so than Miles, they're going to run into a lot of problems with the read option. You can go back, rewind the tape. This is exactly what I said. So it was not a mystery to me that they could not stop the run. Because honestly, what was the mystery to me was why they didn't go to it earlier, the Atlanta Falcons. Because it was clear to me before the game even started that if Isaac Rochelle and Alex Wright had to be out there, the read option was going to be there all game. We knew coming into this game, once 95 and 90 weren't out there, this was going to have to be an offensive effort to win this game. I said, get +2 in turnovers if you can. They had multiple opportunities. The defense had to get +2. They didn't get it. And I said, the offense has to play well. The offense did not play good. The offense played mediocre to bad, right? This was their worst game of the year. We're going to get to the reasons why. Now, again, this is exactly what I felt like happened. When I'm watching the game and the Browns are in 5-2, 5 down defensive linemen, and Tommy Togiai can't anchor on a one-on-one, we got a super chat here from Akalan, who says, hey, Q, I hope you enjoyed the game, even though you said certain amounts. We need a certain amount of wins. How does the Steelers and Ravens losing help us? Oh, it helps you a ton. It helps you a ton. Because ultimately, the bar of games you have to win the division is set by how your peers do. So if they lower the bar, then the bar gets lower for the Browns for what they need to survive this stretch before Deshaun Watson can play. Absolutely. It means a ton. Division is key. Division was how you were going to make the playoffs. But what I saw on the defensive line was Tommy Togiai consistently getting pushed back 5 yards, not being able to anchor. What I saw on the defensive line was Perrion Winfrey, good play, bad play, good play, bad play, good play, bad play. You know what I mean? It was up and down with Perrion. Good plays, bad plays, taken out, good play, bad play. It was very low Larry Ogunjobi-ish today. Jordan Elliott was fine. But everybody else, like the defensive line was bad because they did not have any good players out there, straight up, right? Like these were not any of the marquee names on the defensive line. And that's not an excuse. That's just a reason, right? If you don't have the personnel to match up with the NFL team on the line of scrimmage, you're going to get washed off the ball. Teams are going to be able to do what they want on you. The Falcons get paid to block. And the players they had out there get paid a lot more than the ones the Browns had. This team is different with Clowney and Miles. This defense is different with Clowney and Miles. And given that they didn't have their two best players on defense, I felt like they did well enough. The defense played well enough to win this game. I swear to God on that. I swear to God on that. The defense played well enough to win. You can be mad, you can disagree, but it's the absolute truth. 23 points, that's enough to win this game. Defense played well enough to win. It might have not looked pretty. It might have been really ugly at certain times, but I promise you, the offense is the one who let this one go today. They were the ones who were expected to step up. They didn't. They were the ones who needed to step up to win. They didn't. And they were the ones who had the opportunity to put more points on the board and completely bumbled it away. This was Kevin Stefanski's worst coach game. This is what all of the haters for Kevin Stefanski be talking about when they say he don't call plays well, even though this is not a majority situation for Kevin. This was a horribly called game, especially in the red zone. You had that first opportunity, and here's what I think happened. Kevin outcoached himself. That's what happened today. Kevin was trying to outcoach himself. Arthur Smith was not thinking what he was thinking. He was just thinking too much. This happens sometimes with smart guys. Bill Belichick does it. Pete Carroll does it. Andy Reid does it. Every football, what's his name? Sean McVay does it all the time, right? Every football genius that's out there, they outsmart themselves sometimes. This was 100% Kevin Stefanski outsmarting himself. You get to 3rd and 1. We did a whole video breakdown last week about why this team should be great on 3rd and 1, right? Because out of that I formation set, they can do like 12 different things. And it doesn't matter if the defense knows what's coming, you can execute it. They decided to outthink themselves. You don't have to outthink yourself when you have 9 options coming out of one formation. You don't have to do it. Keep it simple. And you know what? I'm glad from what I heard from Kevin Stefanski's press conference that he realized that he did that shit. But this was Kevin Stefanski outthinking himself. Those 2 goal line possessions, one that ended in no points and the other one that ended in 3 points, that's what, 11 points right there you left on the board. 11 points I think you could have easily gotten with 2 Jacoby Brissett sneaks. We're talking about winning this game by +10 if better decisions are made in the goal line. He did not have to outthink himself today. He decided to outthink himself today. Got to be better than that, Kevin. Like, that's just what it is. I put this on Kevin. We can fire Joe Woods and all this shit, but man, the defense played better than I thought they would. I thought they were going to give up 30 today. I thought this was going to be a shootout. Atlanta's one of the best offenses in football, right? The offense had to step up today. They didn't. Bad play calling on 3rd and short. And this cannot happen again with Kevin because this team has too many options on 3rd and short to be bad at it. Now, they're not bad at it. They're one of the best teams in football at it. This was just a bump in the road for whatever reason. They outthought themselves. Straight up. That is what happened. That doesn't mean Stefanski's a terrible coach. Coaches can have bad games. That doesn't mean that we got to throw the whole playbook away. That would also be outthinking yourself. The right thing to do is go, oh, man, we should have just kept that shit simple. Let's keep it simple next time. Stingray Slapper says, definitely sucked, but that man Chubb looks amazing. At least we're still first place in the North. And that's the bigger picture thing I want to get to y'all before I finish my extended opening statement today. The Browns are 2-2. A lot of us would have rather wanted to be 3-1 right now, right? That's true. It would feel a lot better to be 3-1. We would be more comfortable with 3-1. And they had the opportunity to be 3-1. Really had the opportunity to be 4-0. 3-1, most definitely. Multiple opportunities. But they still 2-2. They still in first place. Miles and Clowney probably coming back next week. We gonna be okay, y'all. We gonna be okay. We gonna be okay. They can still get 3 more wins in this next stretch. Look, we talked about the schedule game all week about how it's never what you think it's going to be. By the way, Ibra with the $2 super chat, I appreciate you. In field goal range, threw that game away. Hey, bad decision making in the goal line. I'm not making any excuses for it. It was bad decision making. It was uncharacteristically bad, which means you don't fire him because of it. But it was bad. And if it does become characteristic, it's bad. Somebody gonna have to go, right? But that was on Kevin. Kevin admitted as much, that it was on Kevin. Kevin knows it's on Kevin. And Jacoby too. Jacoby missed some throws, man. There were opportunities look, there were some opportunities you guys didn't see on TV with Amari Cooper singled up with the safety leveraging over him, but the safety didn't get there in time. I think Jacoby was a little bit afraid of A.J. Terrell. He was a little bit afraid to let it rip and give Amari Cooper a shot on some of these plays. I think he should have let it rip more. I would say this was another D+ game by Jacoby Brissett. He gave you 2 B+ in a row, but he started with the D+ game. This is another D+ game for Jacoby Brissett. Below average for him. Below average for him. He could have definitely played much better. Now, he played really well in the first half. I mean, extremely well in the first half. Second half, it wasn't what we needed. It wasn't what we needed. And he'll play better, and I think he's aware of it. I think Kevin's aware of what went wrong there. I think everybody is aware of why they lost that game. Right? And it's all on the offensive side of the ball. We can point fingers at the defense because it's the most point-outable thing. But how am I going to be mad at Isaac Rochelle for being sorry when he's sorry? When he was a guy that didn't even make the 53-man roster? How am I going to be mad at Isaiah Thomas when he's a 7th-round pick for not being good? How am I going to be mad at Tommy Togiai when he's never been good? How can I expect him to be anything better than mediocre when he's never even showed that he's mediocre? Straight up. How could I expect more than what that defensive line gave you given what they produce? And we could talk about scheme defensively. I think sometimes we say scheme and we don't know what the hell we talking about. E-Rock with the super chat says still in first place through 4 weeks. I'll take it. Appreciate that. Shout out E-Rock. E-Rock, my bad. Shout out E-Rock. Here's the thing about scheme, man. Scheme ain't no magic eraser. Scheme don't matter unless you got the players to run the scheme. Let me tell you something. They were rotating packages all day at that game. They was trying to go to nickel to stop the run. Then they took nickel out, went back to base to stop the run. Couldn't do it from base. Took base out, went 5-2. Couldn't stop the run. Hell, they had 6 people on the line. John Johnson just blitzing, biting on the line. And then they got gashed over top with the throw. Scheme-wise, Joe Woods was trying it all. But scheme does not matter if you cannot win at the line of scrimmage. Period. Point blank, period. That's football 101. Scheme ain't going to save you. If you go out there and your NFL football team is getting washed off of the line like they're the little Giants, ain't shit scheme going to do to save you, bro. Scheme ain't going to save. People say scheme like it's this catch-all magic eraser. If we were just in the right scheme, we would have been okay. If you can't win one-on-one, they had 5-2 on the defensive line. One-on-ones for everybody. Tommy Togiai still getting blown back 4 yards. There's no scheme that's going to save you. Straight up. Isaac Rochelle can't hold contain. There's no scheme that's going to save you if you can't hold contain, because holding contain is part of the scheme. Part of scheme, like play calling on the other side of the ball, is execution. If you don't have the players to execute, you have no scheme to talk about. They did not have the players in the front 7 to execute any scheme y'all wanted to do. Whether it was cover 0 blitz, man today would have been a freaking disaster. It was a disaster when they went to it. There's no scheme that's going to save you when the defensive line cannot anchor, let alone penetrate. I'm not even talking about getting upfield. I'm not even talking about filling up gaps. I'm just talking about holding a gap so a linebacker can get there. Couldn't do that. There's nothing scheme's going to do when you're that bad on the defensive line. And that's on Andrew Berry. I've been telling y'all for years, this defensive line is not deep enough. We need more bodies. We need more first and second round picks along the defensive line. We need beef. Right before we traded for Deshaun Watson, I was advocating for Jordan Davis and Perion Winfrey. I wanted beef. Mighty with the super chat that says, why not take the lead in the red zone with the field goal? Look, the one unit on this team that could execute scheme was the offense. They did not execute today. That's why this game's on them. The defensive line just did not have the pieces today to execute against an NFL offensive line. Straight up. Not enough. Not enough. I can't expect Togiai to do some shit he ain't never done before. He's not good. No disrespect to him. Brother's not good. He's not big enough. He's not strong enough. He's not quick enough. Brother just ain't it. It is what it is. I can't be mad at him for being who he is. Perion Winfrey, I think he deserves a little bit more of my disdain, but still, he's a rookie. He won some, he lost some. He overshot some, sometimes he was cool. The only dude who could do anything in run defense this week was JOK, and JOK was messing up coverages like crazy today. Vacating spots, trying to hold blitz, biting on run blitzes. He got exposed today a little bit. We needed beef on the defensive line because what had I always said? Man, if Myles Garrett, I've said this. Y'all know I've said this. Tell me in chat if y'all remember me saying this because I swear to God I say this like every 3 weeks. If something goes down with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, we in hell on the defensive line. How many times have I referenced that? Today we lived it. Quincy ain't just saying shit. Quincy be knowing what he talking about, right? We were in hell today on the defensive line. That's on Andrew Berry. What's Joe Woods going to do out there? You can't win nothing. Kai Ream says with the $2 super chat, Brissett has to trust Cooper a little bit more. Absolutely. I think he didn't trust him versus the matchup, and he was scared to make a mistake, but he ended up making mistakes anyway. So you might as well make them when you throw in the Cooper. I can live with the mistake you throw in the Cooper. Straight up. So what needs to happen right now? Myles Garrett needs to get healthy. I'm happy that he did not get injured seriously in that car accident. I'm happy they held him out so he doesn't get worse injuries. Brother need to come back and ball. Jadeveon Clowney need to come back and ball. Robert Kane says with a $2 super chat, what's your new number of wins Jacoby has to get? I still think 5 is the number. You can get 5 this way. You can win next week. I think you could beat the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are beyond fumbling a game like the Browns did today. You could beat I think you could beat the Bengals on Monday Night Football at home, and I think you can get the Patriots. Whoever it is, I mean, you can get one every week, but that's what it is. You got to get to 5. That's what I think. Yeah. So that's what I think went down today. That's why I think Kevin outcoached himself. Kevin outthought himself. And I think for whatever reason, Kevin thought that Arthur Smith was smarter than he was. He thought he was coaching against Bill Belichick today, trying to outsmart himself. And look, with really smart guys in football, I want to stress this, man. With really smart guys in football, this shit happens all the time. And it's not an excuse, but it happens. Peyton Manning, king of outsmarting himself in the red zone. Sometimes he's brilliant, sometimes he's an idiot, right? Smart football guys tend to get too smart for their own good, and they have to learn. Like Andy Reid, it took Andy Reid like 10 years for him to learn to keep it simple sometimes. It took him having Patrick Mahomes to be like, all right, man, maybe I just don't got to do too much. And even then, he be doing too much sometimes. So, yeah, man. We could blame Joe Woods. But that's just making you feel better emotionally because you just don't like Joe Woods to begin with. And I understand why you feel that way. But if we want to talk about the root of the actual problem, it ain't Joe Woods. Mighty Mulatto with the $2 super chat says we need both for LAC to come to town. Oh, yeah, we going to need Miles and we going to need Clowney. And honest to God, Miles got some makeup to do. You know what I mean? He didn't get his sack in Pittsburgh. He did not play this week. Miles got some homework to make up for, so I'm going to need the brother to get multiple sacks next week. Straight up. He need to get back on track. He needs to get multiple sacks. 2, 3, maybe even 4. We going to need Miles next week. Jadeveon been fine. We just need Jadeveon to get healthy. We going to miss Anthony Walker, though. We got to talk about that. Anthony Walker, that's one we going to miss. Jacob Phillips was not good today. Denzel Ward got the interception. He was getting cooked in that first half by Drake London. The ball didn't go to him all the time, and when the ball went to Drake London, it wasn't always accurate, but he was getting cooked. I promise you, he was getting cooked. That first half, he was getting cooked by Drake London. They can't go to man if Denzel going to keep playing like this. I know a lot of y'all want to go to man. They can't go to man if Denzel. Denzel being man sometimes is getting beat by Drake London, a rookie. Like, it was nice that Denzel showed up for that one play, but where the hell Denzel been all year? Because this ain't been Denzel. This has been somebody else. Denzel is way better than what he's been playing this season. He not old. I don't know why he playing like this. Greg been great. MJ been great. Grant Delpit played great today. In secondary at least. John Johnson, Denzel Ward, they continue to underperform. That needs to change. Right? That needs to change. So many points left on the board. So many opportunities left on the board. This is one where they're going to look at the film, and we're going to look at the film on Tuesday and be like, damn, could have been a blowout. Should have been a blowout. Didn't execute. Really, it should have. You had an opportunity to blow this. You should have blew this team out without 2 of your best defensive linemen. Because it was there. Didn't execute. 2 bad play calls away from being a great team. 2 bad play calls away from being a great team. That's football. That is football for you. All right? So Kevin outsmarted himself. For sure. Deserves to get a lot of flack for that. Does not deserve to get fired for it, but deserves flack. Joe Woods, look, man, I've been mad at Joe Woods like 2 weeks in a row. This ain't the week. Detroit and Cleveland fan says couldn't stop the run queue. What do you want them to do? You can't stop the run if you suck, personnel-wise. Right? This is basically, if Toledo is playing Ohio State and Toledo can't stop the run, do you think it's Toledo's scheme on why they can't stop Ohio State's run game? Rutgers. If Rutgers can't stop the run against Ohio State, do you think it's the scheme or do you think it's that Rutgers players are sorry in the front seven? Let me ask you that question, Detroit Cleveland fan. I want to hear your response. Seriously. Like, if Rutgers is playing Ohio State and they give up the run, is it Rutgers' scheme or is it Rutgers players? Because the Browns, they're not Rutgers. But that front seven today, that was pretty much ruckus in the NFL. You talking a dude that got cut, another dude that got cut, and another dude that got cut in Tommy Togiai and Jordan Elliott. You was running Rutgers out there against the Falcons. You know what I mean? Greg Schiano's scheme ain't do shit to the run game. It don't mean nothing. Scheme don't mean nothing if you can't execute up front. That's it. Scheme don't mean nothing. They had, I don't want to say bums. That's a mean way to say it. But they had dudes who are relative edge of roster guys starting in an NFL game against an offensive line that's an NFL starting NFL offensive line. They got washed. It was predictable. Like, that was predictable. You got a bunch of 40 overalls against starting for you. What you think about to happen? They're like 40 overalls, man. Like, what did you think was going to happen? What do you think you could do? If you playing Madden and you got all 60 overalls on your defensive line, what scheme you putting in there to stop the run, dog? Ain't shit happening. Even in Madden. And that's Madden, fake-ass Madden football. You can't even do nothing. What you think Joe Woods supposed to do out there in real football with real gaps and real problems and real leverage? And nah, man, there was nothing. No scheme was going to save them if they were sorry up front. And they were sorry. That's not exonerating Joe Woods or the organization. That's on Andrew Berry, because even if you get to this situation, you shouldn't be in a situation where Isaac Rochelle is starting for you, because you should be better prepared than that. But they played the duct tape game on the defensive line for the last 3 years, and the duct tape finally blew fucking open. That's what happened today. The duct tape burst. They've been covering this defensive line with Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, and a bunch of tape, and it finally burst. I've been warning about this for 3 years. Warning about this. You gonna get gashed. It don't matter who the running back is for the Atlanta Falcons. The offensive line is what happened. Huntley didn't have to do a single damn thing to run the ball, because it was, what? I could have got 45 yards against the Browns defensive line today. My slow ass could have got because it was just there. Dudes was getting blown off the ball. That's what happened. It's that simple. You don't win on the line of scrimmage, you don't win football games. The Falcons won on the line of scrimmage today. The Browns did not. The Browns lost this football game. Name me where a game where anybody loses on the line of scrimmage and you win the game. Straight up. Name me. Name me the Browns game where the Browns didn't do a good job winning the line of scrimmage. They won. I'll wait. I would love to hear the response. Again, doesn't exonerate the organization. They should have been better prepared for this. You know Jadeveon Clowney injury prone. You know Myles Garrett don't play every game every year. You knew there was a possibility that both of them dudes cannot be out. You should have been better prepared. Once Chase Winovich went down, but honestly in camp, you should have knew Chase Winovich wasn't it, because he wasn't it. But should have been better prepared. Should have had more edge rushers that you felt comfortable with on the roster. Should have had more beef on the roster. Should have been developing more beef. Instead of drafting 45 running backs, we probably should have drafted a big boy on the defensive line. We got like 45 offensive linemen. We don't got 2 dudes to start on the goddamn defensive line. That's on AB. He got to take that shit more serious. I've been telling him this not telling him. He don't listen to me. I've been saying this to y'all for years. He got to take this shit more serious. We don't think defensive tackle matters. Okay, well, today you found out. You effed around, found out. You don't think edge rush depth tackle matters because you got Myles Garrett? Cool. You found out today. You found out. When your rotation is 4 deep, you found out. Like, and still, you're 2 QB sneaks away from winning this game by 10 points. How can we blame the defense when 2 play calls on offense are what cost you this game? This is on Kevin. Kevin knows it's on Kevin. Everybody knows it's on Kevin. Everybody looking at Kevin like, Kevin, you did this. Kevin's like, yeah, I did this. I'm going to try not to fuck it up next week. And he better not fuck it up next week. It's that simple, y'all. Like, it's that simple, man. That's why I'm not tripping. That's why the season's not over. I'm a little frustrated, obviously. Brian says with the $2 super chat, why not QB? Dog, don't even get me started, Brian. Don't even. That you were on the 1 yard line. They should have QB sneaked both them times. Both them times. I don't understand why they didn't do it. I don't see the downside. Because even if you do it and it doesn't work, you lose an inch. There's no downside to just QB sneaking it one time on the goal line. But they outthought themselves. They thought that they're going to pinch because they know we doing this. So what we got to do is an outside toss to catch them in a pinch. Kevin, bro, you got to see if they pinch first. They weren't pinching. You got caught, right? Like, he outthought himself. He thought of the response before the response had even been thought of on that first drive because he wanted to go pitch. That's because he thought they were going to go pinch on the inside. You didn't have to do all that shit. Just see if they're going to pinch. Just QB sneak it one time. See if they're going to pinch. It's the first quarter. You're not worried about time. And the second one, I don't even want to get into that second one. But that was bad. That was bad. They should have just QB sneaked it. They should have just QB sneaked it. Straight up. And they going to know that. They're going to look at film and know that. They fucked up there. That's on them. As much as we can rag on how sorry the front seven played today, if they make those two play calls, that's 11 points. The Browns win this game comfortably. That is how that's why I think it's ridiculous to blame the defense. They did enough to win. The offense should have got those 11 points they left on the board. We're not even talking about you playing perfect. We're just talking about you playing better for 2 plays. Hey, that's on Kevin. Now Kevin got to coach his ass off next week and get one he ain't supposed to get. Right? You done lost 2 games that you thought you would win. Now you got to get 2 back that you didn't think you was going to win. These next 2, got to get them back. Got to get them back. Got to shock the Chargers. Got to do it at home. Got to do what you got to do. I'm confident they will be able to get some wins that people didn't expect and get to the 5 wins or 6. That's my thoughts on that so far. I want to hear from y'all. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Let's see if they got any press conferences up so I can give my voice a little bit of a break for a second. And then we'll continue the conversation here. But I just wanted to get my thoughts about this game off of my chest. And let's be real, man. They ruined the Kenny Pickett pack for me, man. I've been telling y'all about Kenny Pickett being sorry for years. They ruined that shit for me. I was ready for that pack. Can't believe it. Browns, man. They done ruined a couple packs this year. They done ruined a couple packs. Oh, my goodness. They better get it back in blood next week. They got to get it back in blood. Okay, so they got press conferences up already. Cool. Yeah, David Njoku with the fumble too. That was another thing that I thought the offense let the defense down on. You weren't able to get +2 in turnovers or at least +1 because you didn't even have the right guys on. You weren't even holding on to the ball. Arendal says, I know this crap people say that's annoying, but it does bother me that Chubb is out the entire last drive. Schwartz on the field, I'll take 24 over that. Yeah, I think they panicked a little bit there, right? Now, look, here's what happened them last 2 plays, because the drive was moving fine up until they got out the 2-minute warning. And once they got that illegal man downfield penalty, it was a wrap on putting Nick Chubb on the field. So that's why Nick Chubb wasn't out there. If they stay ahead of the sticks, I promise you Nick Chubb would have been out there. Sean Anderson says we're relying too much on Brissett's passing ability and not sticking to what we know works, running the ball. Best backs in the league, but you pass on 4th and 1. I don't think it's that they need to get Kareem and Nick Chubb involved more because they had a ton of carries today. I think it's more or less where you pick and choose your spots that matters. You can get as many attempts as you want, but I think they did not pick and choose the right spots. And I think a QB, I felt like QB sneak was what they should have done. I understand why you wouldn't want to go run on 4th and 1. You want options. I thought QB sneak on 3rd and 1, though, they should have did that. I think they should have did that. But yeah, this is a game again they're going to look at and realize that they lost this one. And if this ends up being the one that keeps you out the playoffs, it's a hell of a learning experience. I'll tell you that. I would tell you that. Hopefully that does not end up being the case. Hopefully this all ends up being a ha-ha, the Browns win next week, and we out here smoking the pack next week. Or maybe we not. Who knows? Nick Chubb had 127 yards this game. This is what I be talking about. They be having like 200 yards on the ground. Like, they be running the ball. You know what I mean? It's just, It's just where they pick and choose the spots makes you feel like they don't. Ray Rag says that defensive line played pretty well until late in the game. I expected them to be a lot worse than they did. They held up well, got some pressure on Mariota, just couldn't get home. Here's what I think happened with the defensive line. One, thank God that the Falcons decided to stop running the ball on that one drive where they just had to settle for a field goal on the 2. Don't know why they didn't run the ball. But hey, thank you. But I think the first half they were getting washed. They had about 4 drives in a row where they were able to get off the field consistently, and I think the secondary played really well. But then I think at the end of this game, that drive, they realized the Browns can't do shit about the run, and they just spammed it. The Browns couldn't do anything about it because the personnel was just so bad. And they were so tired, right? I think that also, when you have backups in there that aren't used to playing that much, and then you have those backups getting gashed, I mean, like they're already not the greatest players to start. Now they're tired. It's a recipe for an L right here. Chat? Let me know who y'all want to hear, Kevin Stefanski or Jacoby Brissett first. Let me know. Y'all want Jacoby? Jacoby. All right, yeah, we'll go Jacoby, and I'm pretty sure Kevin's gonna do something. Gonna say something that's gonna make me have to go on a tangent. So we'll have Jacoby first.
Jacoby, how do you kind of sum up the sting of losing such a close one like this that was right in the palm of your hands?
We just didn't do enough. Knew it was going to be a 60-minute football game. I know we come up and say it every week, but I mean, we knew it was going to be a 60-minute football game.
We not firing. Okay, let's stop doing this. Every time I made a joke about this with Jake Burns. Every time your team lose a game, it's one person's fault, and that person needs to be fired. It's gonna fix everything. That's the response every time. It's kind of hilarious. But come on, we not firing Andrew Berry.
We just didn't make enough plays down the stretch and in those critical situations, and we just got to look at the film and get better from it.
Do you trace it back to the first half, not scoring twice instead of the time?
I mean, it's a bunch of plays that we can go through and point.
Mighty says, glad we didn't get AB. Hey, man. Nah, Antonio Brown is a fool. He's a fool. He's an absolute clown. Like a straight clown, dog. Like, he don't need to be in the league.
This was that. And we still had a chance at the end, and that's really a decision on something. But we got to learn from it.
Hold on one second, y'all. Sorry about this. Yo, nothing wants to work today.
Knew it was going to be a
All right,
60-minute football game. I know we come up and
there we go. Sorry about
I
that.
mean, we knew it was going to be a 60-minute football game. We just didn't make enough plays down the stretch and in those critical situations, and we just got to look at the film and get better from it.
Do you trace it back to the first half, not scoring twice instead of the time?
I mean, it's a bunch of plays that we can go through and point at it and say this was that, and we still had a chance at the end, and that's really what it comes down to. And and me making the wrong decision on something. But we got to learn from it, just like we do from everyone, and then find ways to get better, do the things that we did good in this game, and then go from there.
Jacoby, what were they doing as you saw it to Cooper during the game?
It's just what this defense is. It keeps you on your toes. Obviously they saw what Coop's been doing the last couple of weeks, I thought they did a good job. They did enough to win. They scored more than 1 point than us, so they won. And we're gonna come back and watch the film and self-scout and see how we can alleviate some of that and get better.
What bad decision are you specifically talking about?
A lot.
Is there something that, like, if you had that one play back,
I want a couple back. So yeah.
Were you trying to get to the 40? Was that pretty much it?
Yeah, we're trying to definitely give us a chance. Yeah.
See, this is what I be talking about. People don't listen to a goddamn thing I say on chat, then be coming in here all big-headed and shit. Big Kev, you're a perfect example of this. I appreciate the $5, but, like, you're a perfect example of this. I spent the last hour explaining this shit, and you're like, oh, can't wait to hear all the excuses for Joe Woods giving up 200 rushing yards to the Falcons. The Falcons? You mean the top 5 offense Falcons that the Browns went up there with Isaac Rochelle, sorry-ass Tommy Togiai, and Alex Wright? Yeah, they gave up 200 yards rushing. They were outmatched on the defensive line. That's not an excuse for Joe Woods, but it frustrates me because Laser McDanger, I like that take. I told you those all white unis are cursed, but this is why this kind of discourse frustrates me. Y'all come here in part because I don't do the cliches. I talk about the game as the game's presented. And when y'all agree with me, we good. But when some of y'all choose to disagree with me, which is fine, I don't care if you disagree. I'm presenting my side of things. Y'all do all the same ESPN, LOL, it's this basic shit stuff that y'all swear y'all tired of. If you want to talk actual football, that's what this channel is for. I'm not about to do, I just don't like Joe Woods because no, if you don't have a real football, if you're going to ignore the football reasons for why things happen, then why do you come here? Because this is not a channel that's blindly saying shit. I do film reviews to back up my talk. I have statistics. I do this shit 7 days, not just 7. AFC North Talk 2 times. I do this shit 9 times a week for y'all. With y'all. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. To talk football X's and O's. If you want to hear this same old takes that you've been hearing, the same old rage bait that you've been hearing, you know who to go to. They've been doing that same bullshit on ESPN 850 for like 10 years. That's who you can go to. I'm not them. I actually talk football here. We gonna break down the X's and O's. If you think me doing that is excuse making, then you don't watch or care about football. And I, first and foremost, I love the Browns. Don't get me wrong, but I care about football first. We're not about to just talk and do basic sports talk over here. Again, you know where to go to. They got a bigger platform than me. They got more viewers than me because of it. It's all right. But you coming here because you trying to hear about football talk and all you doing is saying the same shit. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, this is not what we do right here. Ray Rags with a super chat says, it's not all on Joe Woods when you don't have one of your defensive players in the NFL in the best run defending defensive end. It's not all on the coach to get you handicapped as a play caller in that situation. And I'm not saying Joe Woods did a perfect job. You know what I mean? I'm just not like going to ignore the fact that we had dudes who did not make the 53-man roster start today on the defensive line. And you know what? We know how to do this because like 2 years ago when Baker had Jamarcus Brantley out there and we lost to the Jets, we didn't say shit about that being Baker's fault. The Falcons have Marcus Mariota. See, this is an idiot, bro. Like Big Kev, you don't watch football. The Falcons are the 5th best scoring offense in the NFL. They have scored 28 points 4 times this year. No, 3 times. Browns held them to 23. Like, now I didn't mean to call you an idiot. That's a bit harsh. You're not an idiot, but you're saying idiotic stuff right now. You're saying misinformed stuff, right? If you want to talk about the offense not performing on a bad defense of the Atlanta Falcons, that's a conversation. But if you want to act like the Falcons were a bad offense coming into this game, you don't know what you're talking about, and you're paying money to expose yourself on that subject. I recommend you don't do that. I appreciate the money, but you're literally paying $5 to expose to everybody in chat. You don't know what you're talking about. This was a top 5 ranked offense. They're one of the best teams in points scored this year. You held them under their average. That's not a great defensive performance because you could have did way better, even with the bad parts you got there. But like, if you go on LOL Marcus Mariota, you just sound like you don't know what you're talking about, like you haven't watched football all year, because that's not who this team is. And again, I did like 3 videos on the Atlanta Falcons to let y'all know this is a really good offense. So this is not new information if you've been watching. But again, we'll just continue with the interview, man.
That sequence of events there on the last drive was just like everything that seemed to go wrong.
No, I mean, it's hard to kind of replay it all right now because I just got off the field. But, I mean, I only remember the last play, and it was a pick. So, yeah, bad decision.
Kevin said he owned early. You guys not getting points on that first drive. But as a quarterback, do you like the aggression? Do you like going for 7?
For sure. I mean, Dobbs was just saying it's like hindsight 2020. We've been going for a lot on 4th down as we've been.
And again, I apologize. I don't want to call anybody an idiot. That's not the type of discourse that I want to promote. I apologize for calling you an idiot. You're not an idiot. That was me saying shit. I apologize for the idiot. You're not an idiot. That was harsh. I should not call anybody an idiot, regardless of how misinformed I feel like their words are. That doesn't make somebody an idiot. That makes what they said not necessarily informative, but that doesn't make somebody an idiot. I don't know anybody well enough that's in chat right now to call them an idiot. Unless my brother's in chat. If my brother's in chat, then he already knows. I'm just joking, Mike. I'm just joking, Mike. You're not an idiot either. Love you. All right.
So, obviously we're behind the aggressive play because that's us, and we live with the results and we go to the next play. And, we respect Kev for giving us that trust in this team. I mean, because it's not just about the offense, it's about the defense and the special teams and in that sense. So, hey, they trust us to go for it, and we gotta convert it, and we will.
Do you feel like how do you feel like you responded to all the adversity of the week? Miles, and then most of the D-line being out. How do you think you guys, just as a team, pulled it together and almost won?
Yeah, I thought the guys came out and responded, played hard, played physical. We knew it was gonna be a physical matchup versus team. That's their motto, is playing physical football, and we knew it was going to be a 60-minute game, and obviously we came up short, and a lot of guys had to step up and make plays, and I'm sure when we go back and film, we're going to see like those guys come up and make plays, and we're going to see where we can fix things, and we got another one coming up, and we got to get ready for that one.
Jacoby, where do you guys go from here? You're 2-2. You've got one of the toughest remaining schedules, or at least coming up here on paper. How do you guys bounce back going forward?
One day at a time. We're going home from here, so we're going to go back, watch the film, get a good week of preparation, and whoever we play next, and then and take it one day at a time. And that's the mindset that we always talk about. This doesn't change our plan. Our plan is 1 week at a time, and for us to look at the remainder of the schedule and say this or that in the third is just not who we are, and we won't do that. So we just got to go learn from this one and then get ready for next week.
What did you see? What did you see in the paper? Why was that a bad decision? What happened there?
It was a bad decision because they picked it, but yeah, trying to give my guy a chance, and it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, he get caught with cover 2 under all the time. He needs to stop trying to take the hook on that. All right. He needs to stop throwing the hook on that, because that's exactly how he got caught versus the Jets too. All right. So Big Kev with another super chat. If the Browns were coached by a real DC like Leslie Frazier, Wink Martindale, or Todd Bowles, they'd be a top 5 defense easily. What's Wink doing right now? Because Wink's somewhere. Let's see. Let's look how Wink doing. Because Wink got fired from Baltimore last year, right? Oh, he's with the Giants? There's a DJ named Wink Martin. That's kind of hilarious. He's with the Giants right now. Let's see how the Giants did. Because I'm wondering about that. Because they did fire him, and their defense got much worse in Baltimore. I don't think Wink would be the right hire because he's a 3-4 guy. The Browns don't need to run 3-4. But there's an argument you can make that the defensive coordinator position could be upgraded in total. Sure. Like, I don't think Joe Woods is one of the best defensive coordinators in football. That's never came out of my mouth. This defense should be a top 5 unit. The last 3 weeks, they should have played better. Again, this is not exonerating Joe Woods for an evaluation at the end of the year of whether he should be here or not. It really isn't. They helped the Bears. Well, they helped the Bears, but they held them 12 points. Good job out there. Wink Martindale, real good defensive coordinator. Again, never made the illusion that Joe Woods is a great defensive coordinator, but I don't think a defensive coordinator saves you today. You could have had John Madden calling them plays on defense. It wouldn't have mattered. John Madden can only make, garbage in, garbage out. Right? It's like video editing. Garbage in, garbage out. You gotta execute well on game day in order for any of the other shit to matter. Garbage in, garbage out, man. That's my point. Like, I couldn't even evaluate Joe Woods today because the execution was so bad, so scheme just didn't matter. Ray Rag says, is there a reason why Jordan Elliott isn't a starter or wasn't today on the defensive line? Is he worse than Togi? I thought he played pretty well so far. Yeah, it was weird. He didn't start. I know he got a lot of snaps. So, I don't know. Maybe they were out in a certain look. Jordan Elliott's the only solid guy out there, and Togi has been so bad, man. I don't know why they keep giving that a role. They need to make Brian Flores the head coach? Brother, Brian Flores hasn't achieved what Kevin Stefanski has achieved. Nah, we don't. The head coach is not. If you want to make Brian Flores the defensive coordinator, I'm all for it. Next year, I'm all for it. You're going to have to switch up his defensive style, but I would like Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator. Head coach, I'm sticking with Stefanski, man. The accomplishment with the $2 super chat. This D honestly 0-3 blown coverage. Yeah, they blew a coverage today. I don't know if they blew a coverage, to be honest with you, because the way that play broke down was Mariota got flushed. And I think the man who was responsible for that side of the zone tried to flush Mariota. Mariota made him miss. I don't know if that counts as a blown coverage as much as a blown sack. Either way, they suck at tackling. It's a problem, right? At that point, we're splitting hairs to come to the same solution. Fazel Mohammed says, the reason I subscribe is your intelligent take. None of that reactionary BS. Keep it up. I try to not be super reactionary. There's a lot of people on Twitter that will give you reactionary. There's a lot of people in this city that give you reactionary, and they're good at it. I'm not hating on that bag or their game, but I try to not give reactionary because, one, I'm just not that reactionary of a person. I don't know if you guys have caught this. I'm not like, I get mad at like illogical things. No doubt. I definitely get mad and get in like a rant or get mad about stupid shit. But I try not to be overreactionary and do the rant and we need to fire this guy and all that, because I don't think that ever really comes to solution, and that only feeds into dysfunction, which is this franchise has seen enough dysfunction to that we should be aware that that kind of stuff is just not helpful. But I appreciate the sentiment, man. I really do. All right, man. Let's hear from Kevin. Let's hear what Kevin has to say about this one, because this was on Kevin, man. This one's on Kevin. I'm not gonna lie, Kevin. I love him. I think Kevin's a great coach, But great coaches have bad days, and brother, this was a bad day.
Okay, obviously very, very disappointing to come down here and not come away with a victory, and that's the frustrating.
Here's the breakdown of who lost who what. I just want to do this before we get into Kevin Stefanski, man. All right, because we go parse out these losses, right? Carolina, Cade York won your Carolina. Cade York gets one. He won that point game. And then week 2 versus the Jets, I blame that on Joe Woods. Right? Miscommunication, not be able to stop a team for that was a Joe Woods loss right there, right? So Joe Woods down 1, man. Week 3 versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just sucks. So we beat them. Cool. Week 4, this is on Kevin. Look, they even now. Look, offense done won you one, done lost you one. Defense done lost you one. It would be great if both sides of the ball could do this thing called play well at the same time. It's nice to know they can play bad at the same time too. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to know they got in sync that way, right? But I'm being sarcastic. But it would be great if both of these incredibly talented sides of the ball can go hey man, you trying to play well this week? Yeah. You trying to play well this week? Yeah. Because if we win, we don't got to talk about who fault the L was for. But one's on the offense, the other one's on the defense. It would be nice if they could just play well together so we don't got to fire somebody every time the Browns lose a damn football game. It would be lovely.
Okay, obviously very, very disappointing to come down here and not come away with a victory, and that's the frustrating part. I need to own a large part of that. Just we got to come away with points down there in the red zone, especially early. 1 for 3 in the red zone is not good enough. There's just a lot of things that you wish you could take back, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're a 2-2 football team. We got an AFC opponent coming to our place next week, so we're gonna have to quickly learn from this one and be better next time. And with that, I'll take any questions.
So why don't you kick the field goal in the first drive down there?
Yeah, felt comfortable with the play call, Tony. Trying to get 7 points down there as opposed to 3. I understand the question, but felt good about the play.
Is that something from maybe from early in the week? Like you think you're going to need a lot of points? I looked at you never looked up from your play card like you always thought.
Yeah, we knew. Yeah, I think we wanted to score 7s in the red zone. We really felt like we could. Really felt we. And tried to run it on that 3rd down and got knocked back, which was unfortunate, but just didn't come away with points. And again, that falls squarely on me.
What do you think happened to the run defense in the second half?
Yeah, they did a nice job. They wore us down. We got out of gaps a couple times. They made us pay, but we obviously got to find a way to get off the field.
Kevin, can you go through the other inside the 5 situation? You got 2nd and 1 at the 1. You guys are running the ball at will. You call the pass, there's a holding, and you end up having to settle. It ended up being a huge play in the game.
Yeah. Again, kind of wish you could do something different because of the result, but felt good about the plays when they're not there. You're not thinking you're coming away with a holding penalty. You're thinking you're going to 3rd and 1. So that's again, nobody's fault but my own.
What happened on the big pass play that got them out of their own?
Yeah, we dropped the coverage, but we'll have to look at it exactly.
Kevin, you might have answered this already, but just can you sum up just to come down here, to get so close, to have so much adversity throughout the whole week, and then this?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, Mary Kay. These guys put so much into these games and give you so much during the week, and you put a lot into it. So coming away with a loss is very, very disappointing and frustrating. And we just have to learn from it. But bottom line, you have to learn from it.
I know,
When you say you got to learn from it, does that mean you could start opening your mind to kicking field goals inside the red zone?
Yeah, I think I'm always trying to do what's best for the team, Tony. So there's always opportunities to grow and get better as a coach, as a player, you name it. but I'm not going to be results based. I'm going to always fall back on, our process and trying to put our guys in position to succeed. That's really what we're trying to do.
I was gonna say, are you more frustrated with the results more so than the decisions to kick or to throw it on, at the 1 yard line?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm frustrated by all of it. Frustrated that I didn't put our guys in position to succeed. That's really what I'm frustrated by.
Kevin, can you just address, how did your team seem to respond to the adversity of the week with the whole Miles and then not knowing about Jadeveon and just everything they had to go?
Yeah, I think we talked about it, Mary Kay. Guys have to step up. That's the National Football League. You'll have guys that are unavailable for whatever the reason, and we ask guys to step up.
Speaking of guys stepping up, DPJ, David, I mean, it seemed like they were doing some things, take Amari away.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of other guys that stepped up.
Yeah, I thought those guys did a nice job. Had some opportunities. Always trying to get Amari the ball, and didn't do it enough, really. But credit to them. They did a nice job.
Did you think the Falcons were trying to take him away?
Yeah. I mean, of course, yes. A couple opportunities we just didn't connect.
Let's hit the tally films in chat. I ain't seen what happened with the Ravens yet. Somebody chat, tell me what, because I seen Ravens Twitter hot. You think we hot right now? Ravens Twitter is boiling. They are hot. And whatever happened at the end, all I know is they did not win. I don't know what happened. I haven't seen a highlight. I almost don't want to know what, because I'm gonna watch it on the treadmill later tonight. But because I'll watch all these damn games. But what happened? Dog, like I thought because I don't know what happened. I know it was a close game, but I know Ravens Twitter hot right now. I don't know what Steelers Twitter doing. They've been quiet ever since they realized Mitchell Trubisky was a bum, and they might be realizing that about Kenny Pickett. But we'll see what they're doing. All I know is that Bengals Twitter was having themselves a day, and boy, it is a day when you can win on Thursday. Because we had that day last week when we went on Thursday Night Football. Everybody else is dropping L's. It's great. It's great. It's great. Well, I bet Bengals Twitter was having them all the jokes. Damn, man. They keep ruining. The Browns don't want me to reach my full potential. I've come to grips with that. They don't want me to be great. I be having these jokes. I be having these memes. I be wanting to branch out. And then the Browns say, nah, bro. We about to start Tommy Togiai and give up 8 yards per carry and ruin your day. Man. I don't know. Everybody on Twitter was mad because Isaac Rochelle got cut.
Good. And your, you use DPJ.
I think we'll see. We'll always talk about those type of things, Tony. I think the roster, you always look at it week to week. It adjusts, it changes. So we'll see.
How did you feel about some of those newer faces that started on defense, specifically?
Yeah, I'd have to look at it to give you a good answer, but I think for the most part, Jacob ran the huddle well, was running sideline to sideline. But that's again the name of the NFL. We just got to step up.
What happened in the fourth quarter late? Gaggets looked like they cleared out some of their deep coverage, and 17 was wide open.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it to give you a specific answer. Obviously, we're not designing it to have a guy wide open, but we just got to, make sure we get get them in good position, then make a play when the ball comes our way.
In both losses late in the fourth quarter, that's happened. That's been a huge difference. Why do you think that's happened?
Yeah, I think again, I would give credit to them. They were running the ball. They hit a nice play action pass.
If you have already addressed this one again, but Jacoby, did some really nice things in the game, but obviously the last drive didn't go anybody's way. Can you address his?
Yeah, did some good things. He wants plays back like I want play calls back. That's the really frustrating part of this game when you come up short. So we'll look at it and we'll grow from it.
And there were two plays that Njoku that were negative plays, the end around and then the flea flicker screen. Are those in the category which you wouldn't call them?
Well, the screen got a good yardage, fumbled pretty far down the field there, so that would have been a good gain. I think any play, Tony, that doesn't work, you always look back and you ask what you could have done differently. I also want to give credit to them. They're going to make their plays.
Were you hoping against hope that Jadavian could somehow play, and when did you know he wasn't?
Yeah, it was close. Wanted to give him some time with the ankle, but
Mighty says, open your mind to a field goal for F's sakes, not results oriented, but we're going to learn from our mistakes. How? Well, what he means there when he says we're not results oriented is they have a process. They're not going to change that process because they calculate that, hey, 80% of the time, this is going to work. If it works, and it should work out like that, right? Like, they're not going to change that because of the 20% of the time it doesn't work. That's what he's saying. My whole issue with that drive isn't that they didn't kick the field goal. I don't think you win the game in overtime anyways because the way the Falcons were able to run the ball, you had no shot in overtime. So even if that game's tied, it's not happening. But I do think better play calling on 3rd and 4th down, if you would have went for it, would have been helpful. And I think that's where I wanted the QB sneak, fullback dive, keep it real simple. Why didn't we go Kareem Hunt fullback dive again if we were so worried about pinching? Right? My issue isn't with the decision to go for it. My issue isn't with that. My issue is with the play call itself. I'm fine with the decision to go for it. But if your go for it plan on 4th and 5 was empty and nothing that you feel like automatic about, then you got to kick the field goal, right? I think they should have ran it on 2nd down, that first drive. I think it should have been a QB sneak. I think you probably score. That second one, QB sneak, you probably score. It's a shame. He played really good in the first half. He could have had 3 touchdowns in 1 half. But didn't end that way. Now we're talking about a bad Jacoby Brissett game. Game of inches, y'all.
it wasn't quite ready today.
You feel good about Miles and Clowney being back next week?
Yeah, I'll wait to see until we get back in the building.
I'm a ban the word scheme. Unless you could describe to me what the scheme is, do not say scheme on this channel. Oh my goodness. People just be saying scheme. What scheme? What scheme did you see today? Describe to me the scheme. G Money Uptown says easy to play to run the ball game with Chubb, not Hunt. We got to come to, like, as great as I think Nick Chubb is, and I think he is great. The one thing he's never been great at, 3rd and 1. Nick Chubb ain't never been great at 3rd and 1. Nick Chubb is great. Nick Chubb kind of like Barry Sanders, but big as shit. That's funny. But it's true. He's kind of like Barry Sanders, but just gigantic. Soul Train, do you think Miles comes back this week? I know Miles feels like he should. That's the thing with Nick Chubb. As big as he is, as fast as he is, he's never been a great 3rd and 1 back. Kareem Hunt's always been the better option there. So it is frustrating because 3rd and 1's that situation where fans think if you got a great running back, that's what you do. But that's not what Nick Chubb's great at. Nick Chubb's not great on 3rd and 1. You know what I mean? He likes to bounce things to the outside too much. He likes to be too patient. He's not a great 3rd and 1 back. I think Jacoby Brissett's better on 3rd and 1. I think Kareem Hunt's better on 3rd and 1. I think you could even say Jerome Ford would be better on 3rd and 1. Like, he's just not a great 3rd down back. And I think that's why he's never down on there on 3rd down. And there's some truth to that, right? He's just never been a good 3rd down option. He's serviceable, but he's special every other down. He's not special on 3rd down. You know? And that's just kind of the truth of it. All right, Ray Rags has the information on what happened to the Ravens. And by the way, I'm glad that everybody else in the AFC North lost and the Bengals didn't play today because, boy, would they be in our shit trying to troll right now. But they got their own problems to talk about. Ray Rags says the Ravens used their last time out. The Bills were on the 3. It looked like some of the Ravens defense tried to let the Bills score, but they tackled Allen at the 1, so the Bills kneeled it out, then kicked the game-winning field goal. Wait. What happened to Ray? Is this what happened with the Bengals and the Chiefs last year? People just say run the ball. Like, I see some people like, yeah, why do we say run the ball so much? People just say that because they just saying shit. You know what I mean? They're not looking at the splits. They're not looking at the carry numbers. They don't care. They're just saying run the ball because that's the shit that they say. We don't got to take it that serious, right? Nick Chubb had 127. They ran the ball. Nick Chubb ran the ball a lot. I think they could have picked and chose some better spots and some better positions to put these players in to run the ball in. Honestly, I feel like they should have ran Jacoby more. So the Ravens used their last timeouts against the Bills. Oh, they were on the 3. Oh, this is exactly what happened with the Bengals and Chiefs last year in the regular season. Exactly what happened. Oh, boy. It's rough. If there were 143 left in the game when the Ravens tackled Allen, they had no timeouts. Can't wait to watch that. Can't wait to watch that. Yeah. Some people just come in here, they say Nick Chubb need to run the ball more, and they leave, and they never engage with it more than that. Like, that's just what people say, right? They want to do the Chubb. The reality is that the Browns have been in the top 10 in rushing attempts every year Kevin Stefanski has been here. More so than they were before Kevin Stefanski. The reality is that the Browns, if they don't lead the league in rushing attempts right now, they're at least number 2. Browns run the ball a ton. There's no truth to the they don't run the ball thing. People just be saying shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? Sometimes people say shit and it's just like they just saying shit, and it's not serious discourse. It's just a meme at this point, right? I think that's more or less what it is. It's just a meme. The guy was wearing the shirt. It's a meme. It's a meme. But Kevin runs the ball plenty. You know what I mean? Every coach that's been at a team for a long time gets that in their fan base, like a meme of something. Like, I know Urban Meyer had it. That's college. But if you ever hear, like, I don't know how many of you guys have fans that are like friends that are Steeler fans or know people that are Steeler fans. But like, if you hear Steeler fans talk to other Steeler fans, you would think Mike Tomlin's not a good coach. The way they be talking about him. They be talking about Mike Tomlin could get fired every year. You know what I mean? Like, every fan base, no matter how good their coach is, unless they're Bill Belichick, they got like 6 Super Bowl rings, are going to want somebody fired after a game. And it's usually the coach. Rarely is that the right instinct. But yeah, it's one of those things that just happen. You know what I mean? If people want to fire Mike Tomlin after every game, then like, it's going to be what it is. I bet you Pittsburgh fans are saying we should fire Mike Tomlin right now too. It just is what it is. Every fan base does stuff like that. Whether it's good or not, that's not for me to determine. But, I'm not going to lie, act like I have not seen other fan bases act in outlandish ways versus coaches that I thought were really good. Oh, no, we not about to track Baker Mayfield being sorry. Come on, man. Let that man be sorry. All right, let's let Baker Mayfield be sorry in peace, y'all. That man not good. We know he not good. Baker Mayfield fans, I hope you know what? Here's my plea, the Baker Mayfield Twitter. Baker Bro Twitter, whatever they call it. Just throw up the white flag, bro. Like, just throw up the white flag. I want to, as much as anybody, to get to the Baker Mayfield arc to where we can appreciate what he did instead of having to put it in context of reality. Like, but as long as y'all are going hard on this Baker Mayfield thing, we have to throw reality back at your face, and it's going to sound like hating to you because you're not in reality. I would love it if the Baker Bro media would just throw the white flag on this and be like, all right, he not that good. Let it go. So we can appreciate Baker Mayfield, so he can come back here in like 5 years and get the woo Baker, yeah. And then we don't have to have this animosity, or we don't have to have Browns fans argue with other Browns fans because somebody wearing their 4-year-old Baker Mayfield jersey they bought for $200. I would love to get past it, but y'all got to throw up the white flag and just admit that man's not that good, so we can start lying about that he was better than he was. but we had to move on. All right? Like, honestly, I want to get to the part to where we can have fun with Baker Mayfield again and make jokes and appreciate the good times. But as long as y'all keep lying about this, man, we got to tell the truth. Soul Train says next week the Ravens play the Bengals, the Steelers play the Bills. I need the Browns. See, look, like, it's going to be tough games for everybody next week. Browns got a window. Browns got to beat the Chargers. I'm putting it down. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I done said all my torn labrum jokes. I'm running out of material. I didn't think he would be this bad this early. So I just want them to throw the white flag up, man. Just let it go. Just let the Baker Mayfield stuff go so we can start, so we don't have to be as vicious to this man. We know he about to get benched in like a week. He might get benched tonight. Why y'all making this even harder, man? The Browns are better off without Baker Mayfield. It is what it is, but we could at least appreciate that he wasn't absolutely sorry his first 4 years. Give him that Brian Hoyer love. We about to get Brian Hoyer when he come back in here. Brian Hoyer wasn't good, but he was better than what was there. G Money Uptown says 35 pass, 35 running. Why are we putting in the ball in Jacoby's hands? He is okay. Marcus threw like 10 times. Okay, here's why. G. I'll give my explanation. 35 pass, 35 running, that's a good balance. That's exactly where you want to be on pass, exactly where you want to be on run. The reason it wasn't more unbalanced was that you weren't having the success in the running game to justify it being more unbalanced. You were having balanced success, both in passing and running. It's not like passing didn't work. Passing was working in first half, like clockwork. Passing was straight up. Everything was butter in the first half. The reason the Falcons could get away with Marcus Mariota throwing the ball 10 times is because they were getting 8 7-yard chunks every run. We weren't getting those. We were getting 5 4-yard chunks. But that's what's up. Feeling Dangerous 113 says, hey Q, what's up with that long pass Marcus Mariota in the fourth quarter? That's a broken play right there. And that happens with a mobile quarterback. One of the linebackers crashed to try to get the sack on Marcus Mariota, abandoned their zone. They did not get there in time. They did not stay disciplined. So it's a broken play at that point, and they left number 17 alone, and he burnt you. Well, he ain't burnt you. He just sat in his zone and played smart football. That's my explanation. Somebody said Myles Garrett isn't good. Boy, y'all would love to. Myles Garrett said that one thing about not returning the text to Baker Mayfield and then said he didn't like the fans booing, and y'all turned on him over that. And I think that's very dumb. Let Myles live. Are we about to do to Myles what we did to Odell? Are we really about to do this to a great player? Lie to ourselves about their greatness, and then when they go somewhere else and be good, that? And we're gonna do that. I don't want to do that. Stop acting like Myles is. I did a whole episode with G. Bush about this, man. Go check out his channel. Not even gonna argue with y'all about that. You think Myles Garrett not good? Man, stop making fun of how I say Baker Mayfield, man. That's how I say Baker. It's Baker Mayfield. That's how you say it. It's Baker Mayfield. There's no R. Baker Mayfield. Ugh, come on, man. That don't even sound right. It's Baker Mayfield. G Money says run the ball to wear down the defense. Nah, that's not gonna work, bro. That's just some shit you would do in Madden. That's not gonna actually work. Nah, they ran the ball plenty. 35-35 split. That's a balanced split. They weren't getting the 7-yard chunks that the Falcons were getting. They did not have the success on third and short that the Falcons were having. Run game didn't execute as well as they should have. They got outran by the Falcons. That wasn't supposed to happen. We got to stop assuming that the run game was working automatically when it wasn't. It wasn't. It worked some plays, but it wasn't working like that, man. It wasn't working like that. And the Browns put themselves behind the sticks a couple of times where they couldn't run the ball. But when they were running the ball a lot. Now, I'm not doing the whole they weren't running the ball a lot. They had 35 usually most teams don't match their passing attempts with rushing attempts. Usually it's much more passing attempts than rushing attempts. I get the frustration. Why play balance when your best players are running back? Because you have to play balanced football in order to give your running back sufficient opportunities. Again, I get the frustration. You just want to spam the Nick Chubb button, but if you spam the Nick Chubb button more than you pass, you're just going to get Nick Chubb 2 yards a carry. Like, you have to give them something to go off of. It's Baker Mayfield. I've been saying Baker Mayfield. Have I said Baker? I don't know. I got to go back and watch some of my videos from 2 years ago. Was I really out here like Baker Mayfield? Yeah, Myles Garrett got the Browns, is like a half sack away from getting the Browns all-time sack leader in his like 5th year, and people don't think he's good. Soul Train, that's a great super chat. I don't know what it's going to take for y'all to realize Myles Garrett good. Myles Garrett come out here for a 4-sack game. Y'all don't think he's good. Like, some people will never be pleased with Myles. And partly they don't think Myles is good because they don't understand what he does well enough to know that he's good. And when people try to teach him, they don't want to listen. So it's just ignorance. And honestly, I don't think Myles being out would have changed any. I think it would have changed a little bit. I think the real issue was Clowney being out today. That's the one that hurt. You needed Clowney today. To be honest with you, I felt like that was it. But it's been an interesting day so far. Who's playing right now? Is it the Panthers? Let me see what the games are. Somebody already they need to start Josh Dobbs. Boy, we just be saying I love Browns fans, but y'all just be saying anything after a loss, man. We just be out here saying whatever. That should be funny as hell. Baker Mayfield got 100 yards and 2 interceptions. Man, I told y'all going to Carolina was not good for him. It would be a terrible situation for him. And he always played bad versus the Cardinals. I don't think Baker Mayfield has had a good game versus the Cardinals ever in his life. He always be playing unspeakably sorry versus the Cardinals, man. Unspeakably sorry. Remember last year? Yeah, I think Clowney being out hurt more. Hey, Cavs play Donovan Mitchell. You know what I mean? That's going to be fun. My main point here today, Browns fan, I guess my point on exiting is the reason you were sorry today on defense is not a reason that should exist again. Myles Garrett should not miss another game after this whole car crash fiasco. Hopefully Jadeveon Clowney doesn't miss a game. Hopefully your depth is never tested like this again. But your lack of depth is why you probably lost this game. The brain farts from the coaching staff, probably why he lost this game. I'm hopeful and confident based on resume. That shit ain't happening again. So they're going to be all right. End of the matter is everybody in division is 2-2. So we're back at the start of the season again. Everybody has the same record in the division pretty much, except for the Steelers, who I believe are the Steelers. Everybody's either 500 or below 500. So what does that mean? We back to the beginning of the season. Everything's fresh, clean. You win next week, you get a game up in the division. You win the week after that, you get 2. Ray Rag says we need to find a way to get DJ Moore out of Carolina. They're wasting his talents with Rule's coaching and Baker playing. Yeah, Matt Rule and Baker Mayfield was not a match that I thought would ever work. I thought that was a disaster waiting to happen. Again, some people don't listen to me. And I get it. I'm not a genius. I'm not a former player. Y'all got to listen to me. But I try to know what I'm talking about sometimes. And, some of this shit's very predictable. Some of this shit is very predictable. You know what I mean? But I'm going to try to have the recap video up before 8. I appreciate y'all for coming today. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night, y'all. Now the Bengal fans in the chat. Okay, time to go. Time to go.